Place Badger.
I'm Sierra Kilo.
We were watching the Snarltoof Smashas versus the Sunday Speedwalkers.
I wonder if the Speedwalkers are going to walk around the Smashas, or the Smashas are going to do what they do.
I think they're going to do both in varying degree, but we have a 130 team value difference.
130?
It's what we've never seen
Illuminati.
that before. It's
Illuminati.
It's the only excuse. All right, so getting set up, arch rivals. We've gone over this something like 7 times, probably more.
That's true. They keep going back and forth, where one decides that they're scared of the other, and then the other decides that I'm done being scared, and then switches back. So
yeah,
this is a really well balanced match. I'd say the kind of the pinnacle of the opposite sides of the teams, where you have the high agility team versus the smashing team. And this is a good, historically accurate representation of whoever's playing best on the day wins, not based on the team itself.
Yeah, it's definitely a good example of asymmetrical play in Blood Bowl. So, starting with the Smashas getting the ball first, Jazz Choir moves over there, and immediately the brand new War Dancer, first time out, gets a injury right off the bat, fractured skull, going down to armor value 6.
What do you do with that?
Probably get another War Dancer. I mean, no investment has been made. It was quite literally, she came out, everybody cheered, and then she got taken away on a stretcher.
That's fantastic.
All right, so looks like that might have been a 1-die against Sturdywood, and then attack her down to take himself out.
All right, so this could be the game changer. Once that initiative shifts, you could be in trouble with the penetration that the Speedwalkers can make.
Yeah, and I didn't check the movement allowance for Jazz Choir, but if the plan wasn't to guard the ball more, knowing this team's crazy movement allowance, putting somebody on this side of the ball might have been more useful.
All right.
Let's see if he brings anybody back to protect. But instead he does not. He does a quick pass to Moglop, actually a short pass to Moglop. And let's see if Moglop's going to do anything with that. Throwing a couple blocks beforehand. Again, another 1-die, the same thing that caused the turnover last time.
Yeah, I mean, lessons should be learned, but if that's the way that you're going to insist on doing it, I guess that's what you got to do.
Alright, so a dodge and shadowing into another dodge causes a reroll and fail. Actually, I think he opted to re-roll the shadowing roll. That's what that was. Yeah,
okay.
So he failed the shadowing, re-rolled, got the same thing, and then instead of just relying on the dodge.
Should be, well, this is turning into a fairly interesting game, especially with the insistent mismatch on the tree. I don't know if he noticed the shadowing or not.
Yeah, I think the prompt came up to re-roll, and I don't think he read it. I thought he probably thought it was the dodge.
Right.
Even
so now
though
the Speedwalkers are going to have that opportunity.
Yep, there's the touchdown. So that was pretty terrible play from the Snarltoof Smashas, just kind of making mistakes across the board, and then the Speedwalkers just having to capitalize on those.
Right. I think that he's doing exactly what I did on my match, where he's just trying to spread the field a little too much, get a little too much ball movement, and didn't really need to do any of that because he's got the slow, steady progression team.
Yeah, that was a lot of weird choices. Man. All right, so looks like that was a 2-die against the tree, and it appears that he might have already used his reroll prior to that, so he wasn't able to use it. He really wants that tree. Maybe he didn't. Went a little bit fast for that one, but
yeah, that's all right.
So we're looking at immediate, because he went for that instead of kind of supporting anybody on the ball. We have complete penetration in the backfield.
That's true.
Doesn't he have a strength 5 Black Orc?
He should.
And then 2 other Black Orcs? Like, that would be strength 7 if he was pushing guys
There's
off the
this,
tree.
right.
So, okay, so it looks like he's doing 2 go for it to do a quick pass in the rain to Moglop, who has already acted. Looks like...
Got the tree.
Yep. Got the tree on the, I think, 3rd 1 die that he did against it. 4th attempt against it and the 3rd 1 die.
Well, we say that odds are there, right?
I mean, yeah.
That eventually, if you roll it enough, you'll get it.
Yep. So I hope it was worth the touchdown and the potential for another touchdown to get the tree out, because that's really all you've achieved. And she's got almost 2 touchdowns in 5 turns.
All right, so she's down a tree and a war dancer, so the tree's not going to come back.
I don't believe so.
It wasn't an injury; it was a knockout.
It was a knockout, so he could be back.
Okay, he could come back.
So painting the ball, trying to make up for lost ground. Getting in there, getting the stun because of Mighty Blow. Never want the Black Orcs next to the ball like that. That is a scary situation.
Right. It's gonna do work. So here's the opportunity that he needs: is that ball's on the ground, she's aggressing it in force, and now he's got the definitive strength advantage. Now that tree's not tying up his Black Orcs, so he's got a really good opportunity to do some damage. I wouldn't even worry too much about the ball right now.
With the mistake of doing a decent bad roll right here for the 2 die, not having a block on the guy, having to use the reroll, and then rolling a 1 on a dodge without the dodge ability.
Right.
It caused a quick turnover. He was able to push the 2 people off the ball, grab the ball, move forward, and was able to injure another player. Looked like it was, yes, a lineman with kick, actually.
Okay. So that'll change her kickoff procedures as well. So give him a little more opportunity to get that ball in a good position and make the way upfield.
Yep.
She's not going to be able to really pin down that corner.
Running that safety back there and utilizing the War Dancer to capitalize on it, that was a really good move. Pretty bad throw-in. Forces a touchdown. And see, that's the beauty of running those safeties, is when somebody overextends like that, and either A, they're not paying attention to the safety being there, whatever the reason. When somebody overextends like that without any blockers, you can completely take out their ability. And with a lucky bounce in like that, it was an immediate touchdown because she also has players in the other field.
It's a great example of how that goes. And then not having her kick player kicks it out of bounds.
Yep. So probably a situation where she wasn't used to not having kick and just either didn't think about it or forgot the standard for kicking without kick. Sturdywood does not make it back. Another KO right there on a lineman. Stun right there. And Jazz Choir was handed the ball because of the off-field kickoff.
Right. So he still has to play smart, so he's got 2 turns to get a touchdown.
It can be done. I mean, he's got a good situation going for him to be able to get that. But getting tricked by that shadowing is not going to help with his best player.
Right.
Didn't have to go that lane.
No, absolutely correct. Now he's got the penetration again, so now you're at risk of a snappy rebuttal touchdown.
Yep. And then again, for the 3rd time, not really running anybody to directly assist Jazz Choir. The lineman can count, but we'll see if he does anything with it. So paints this one over here. It's not going to really do much if something goes wrong. All right. Gets the ball, but has already acted because he had to stand up. So that will be no touchdown for Moglop. So now it's just time to make sure that they don't get a score touchdown.
Right.
I don't like that she keeps Chesda in the end zone. Just 1 space in, please. Like, that's so... Like, I know the chances of somebody coming up there and pushing her out is, like, very slim, but it's just eerie.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it's just, if you forget or whatever, something happens.
Well, especially because it's going to be off camera for a while.
Yeah, and that's...
Somebody can sneak down there on you.
Ugh. So Sturdywood's going to be making it back along with one of the linemen. So we should be back to 11-11. So despite all these injuries and whatnot, it doesn't look like he's able to mitigate the numbers too terribly much yet.
Yeah, and that's really all that you can do against that agility team. That's where he's been successful before. Well, first off, he hasn't made those silly mistakes that he's getting caught on shadowing, and he's getting caught throwing one die blocks before he really protects the ball. So those are things that are working against him. I don't think that Ducky Shoes has really earned either of those touchdowns. She's gotten fairly lucky and taken advantage of his mistakes instead of really what you look at when what she's capable of is getting that deep penetration and moving the ball effectively. She hasn't really had to do that.
I don't know, especially on that second one. The first one's a little bit more arguable for the side that you're going on, but that second one took just textbook keeping a guy, at least one guy, if not two, on both sides of the pitch, which shouldn't be something that we herald, but since this is basically the only team that does that consistently, I think it needs to be mentioned.
No, yeah, I mean that's good, but had the fact that the ball landed where it landed,
yeah.
and it bounced out. She tackled the ball carrier, was effective, right? But the way that ball bounced out of bounds and then got thrown inbounds, and she just happened to have all that. I mean, he did have the pass block that gave a -1 modifier to the receiver, I believe, but really when it comes down to it, she didn't have to earn that one as much on the offensive side. It landed where it landed, and she had the player's position. Yeah. And that's a good point that you make, that it's not luck that those guys were there. She does that purposefully. So I see your point.
Yeah, and that's really is the only point to be made there, is that if you have the coverage for that 1 in 100 chance that ball's going to be set up, then congratulations on your touchdown.
Right.
And then right there, just textbook elves, push the couple of guys out of the way, get your touchdown.
Right, and that's what I'm talking about. That's her strategy, and that's her team doing a really good job on making that touchdown happen.
Yeah, so in about 10 turns, she has made this team look like novice clowns.
Right.
It's really impressive how almost daunting an elf team can seem when the other player doesn't play to a high caliber.
Right, and she's firing on all cylinders right here.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it comes down to. Even when she didn't have her tree man, even when she's running one war dancer right now.
Mm-hmm.
So without those two being there, you really just you have the opportunity, right? Because I think that the Smashas at this point, with only that one war dancer, that even to be fair, it's her good war dancer,
yeah.
But you're only focused on one player being down the pitch there.
And wasn't able to stop it.
Right.
So, leaving a pretty big glaring gap right there. This lineman right here makes it to where she can't just go and get a single die on Jazzquire, who doesn't have block.
Right.
But that's seen coaches do less tricky shit.
True.
So, snake eyes on a dodge right there causes a turnover. So that was pretty good fortune for the Smashes. All right, so not a perfect cage, but much better cage in this situation.
Right. And you look at who is going to approach from that corner, and I think that he's going to be okay there.
Yeah, that was an educated choice to make that side a little weaker, because he knew he had the two blitzers there, and there wasn't going to really be many contesting there. Excellent looking for those angles, using a push to get it set up, and then a blitz to push off the pitch. That was really good planning.
I'm with that.
And here's
Mighty blow there. Good.
And then here's where Master Moose was talking about placing your bodies where the enemy's angles of attack are. Didn't need to place anybody there because there's nobody. I mean, Chesda could probably get in there, but that's strength 2. That's an uphill, with no block. That's an uphill climb.
Right. Now we know players who go for that.
Yes.
But I don't feel like this is one of those players. So playing the opponent as well as playing the team.
Yep. Yeah, so we could potentially see a 2-die blitz Jazzquire's choice, but I don't think so, especially with
Right.
only one reroll remaining.
Exactly. Plus the high value player that you're dealing with there.
Ugh.
So you're not going to really get. Yeah, I would start running for that, just to put that in her head.
Yeah, so that was a good touchdown. That was just kind of barreling through, constantly getting that motion and engaging on other sides to ensure that she has to think about it before she moves to help slow down the charge.
Right. And had that happened right from the beginning, this would be a 2-1 game.
Yep, and I don't think she threw the hardest defense that she possibly could against that charge because she didn't want to risk the key players in a situation where she's going to win either way.
Right.
So that's good, kind of a season view that she had right there.
I mean, she's got the injuries already. She's got a couple deaths and stuff in under her belt, so she knows what it feels like to lose players. And if she doesn't have to lose players, don't lose players.
See, this is an interesting thing, and I've done this before as well. Leaving a non-essential player, like a lineman or something, in a very peculiar situation.
To eat that blitz.
Yeah. Now she passed it, which makes me think that that wasn't the plan at all, because now this makes this target way too important.
Right.
But you can trick people sometimes and going, okay, I'll get one player off the pitch and just mark the receiver as much as possible.
Right.
But yeah, again, now that she passed the ball with unable to move the War Dancer, that's a bad move. And this harkens back to the beginning of season 2. I'm surprised to see her do that again. I think that's a little bit too much relying on how sturdy her War Dancers can be.
Right. I mean, but you've used all of your, non bad percentages. I'm not going to, when you get into statistics, you realize that every chance is a new chance. But you go over like, out of 10 hits, what the average says is that 1 or 2 of them is going to get that War Dancer put down, and she's been attacked 3 or 4 times already. You know what I mean? So we're getting into that point where
Yeah.
she was due to get hit and knocked down.
Yeah, and either way, it comes down to this: the thrower was actually quite protected. Had 3 or 4 players in between his players. At worst, you were going to get somebody adjacent to Chesda, but the War
Right.
Dancer was the only one out there with like three orcs that could take him out.
Yep.
So that was just I didn't like that choice. That's a oof.
Well, there goes.
Yep. So yeah, that was no good.
Pay the piper.
All right, so he's gonna just.
What would you have done there? I would have tried to knock the player off the pitch. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, for the next time that you play, probably get a good little kick into the field or off the pitch just to see what happens, what comes of it.
Right.
It's worth it. I mean, you're not going to win. So, that was not a good game.
Yeah. It's been a week for that, where I think that we've gotten to that kind of central point where we've had the first couple matches where everybody was super tuned in, and this was a little bit of a relaxation week for a couple people. Maybe not purposefully. I know that I don't feel like I played as well as I could have, and my opponent played a stellar game and really proved a lot of things. And I think this is what happened here, was maybe the Smashas Master Act didn't come to it full focus, and the Speedwalkers took advantage of that. Ducky Shoes played a good match. Fell apart maybe just a very little bit toward the end, leaving that lineman on the edge there, and making that risky throw to the War Dancer and leaving her out in the open means that maybe that wasn't the best decision. But when it comes down to it, when you're up 3-1, you get a couple passes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. If you're winning and you make a mistake and it doesn't cost you the game, then those mistakes don't look as bad. But we still have to mention it because you should be playing at high caliber every moment of every game.
True, true.
Because it's going to come down to where you make these same mistakes when you're not winning, and then it just exacerbates the situation.
Yeah, standards all day.
Yep. And then for the smashes, man, I think you hit it right on the noggin. Just a complete lack of focus. One player on the entire pitch had shadowing for that last shadowing mistake, and he just decided to run through its tackle zones.
Yep.
For, I mean, I guess the middle of the field is a good position, but not so much.
Right.
Sending a receiver onto the opposite side of the pitch would have been much better than having another receiver close to the first receiver. So, and then all the other mistakes that we went through is just the Smashas basically handed the Speedwalkers that game. I mean, look at the percentage of ball possession. It was in every instance that the Smashas weren't focused, they just gave them a touchdown.
Right.
So
I think that's the key point is that it was a bit of a gimme toward the Speedwalkers this time, though she did play super well to take advantage of the mistakes. So I'm not taking anything away from her because she did exactly what she needed to do to win that game in the situations that she had.
yeah, it really comes down to, when you boil it down to the essentials, is that Ducky Shoe stuck to her basics of Blood Bowl, maintaining field coverage, keeping an eye on things, looking at skills, doing everything that a basic Blood Bowl player should, while the Snarltoof Smashers failed in almost every regard to maintain basics. So that's why you have a score like 3-1.
Pretty gross.
Yep. Sorry for being so critical, guys, but from high-level players like this, we expect high-level games. So
Air power.
I hope to see you guys in the next week, and please don't take it too hard.
Later.
Bye.